So a statement here that I'm going to turn into a question here, Michael Leckie. Dramatic events can often enforce existing support among a candidate's base. Some Democratic strategists believe that this incident, the shooting, the attack on Trump, will further solidify Trump's base without necessarily bringing in new voters. So I think that the statement here, I'll turn it into a question of, are dramatic events important for the brand of a leader? A dramatic, I mean, you know, to the Trump piece, is this an incredibly important moment for the brand of Trump and solidifying that kind of Trump, I don't know, brand, let's just call it. Michael, what do you think on this?
Yeah, it's interesting. And the questioner's statement came in talking about the base. And we talked a little bit before we actually went live on this. And when we try to do these unrehearsed, but you made a comment about, I don't think it impacts the base much. And I said, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it impacts the base, but it could. Will it solidify it? I mean, look, if I'm 100% a Trump voter and now I'm 110%, I still get one vote. It doesn't really matter. So no, it doesn't really do anything for the base, I don't think. Will it do anything for the, the undecided? It may, and I think dramatic events certainly can have an impact. I mean, I think that. So, full disclosure, I did not vote for Donald Trump, and I will not. For a lot of reasons, he is not my candidate. And I don't think he's my political view. I don't think he's the best equipped person for the job. But he does have some incredible instinct for winning people over. And his instinct, after he was hit and saw there was blood, was to hold on. He made sure they cleared aside. So he got his photo opportunity moment of, I'm still here standing strong. Now, you could say, Michael, you're not a Trump voter, so you're a cynic. And you're saying that, he was creating that gesture for the camera. You're goddamn right he was creating that gesture for the camera. I absolutely believe that. He's been on camera all his life. Trump knows how to manage his brand. Even when he does things that are destructive to him, he's good at brand management. He's got the most camera time. And this takes me back to, for those of you, and I wasn't old enough to remember it, but I remember seeing the studies, is that Nixon, before he won an election, lost an election because it was the first election they had people on TV. And he sounded great in newspapers or on radio, but when you got to see him, he didn't play well on camera and he lost the election. Trump knows how to be in front of the camera. And so a dramatic event like that of a man they attempted to kill him and he's still standing strong, he is going to use that event. And will that win people over? I don't know how many will win over because the country is so divided on these candidates, but I think it will have some impact for those who would want to paint him in a box that is not strong. They'll say, look, there was strength with that raised arm and that fist. Now, I'll be honest, for me, a lot of times I see strength and a fist coming from a candidate in politics. It causes me concern. But then again, I don't believe maybe in the policies that they have. So I think all that to say, I don't think there's any doubt that dramatic events can have an impact. I think the interesting thing about them, and maybe this is what you'll talk on, I don't know, is that for the most part, you can't engineer a dramatic event. They happen, and what happens in the moment happens. And I think oftentimes they take on a life of their own. So while it's really interesting to think about, the concept of the October surprise and creating that, I think it's hard to create the right dramatic event and get it to work the way you want it to. So they can have an impact. I'd be wary on using it as a ploy. It's the same thing I would say to most of my clients, that know how you're going to respond if something dramatic happens, but I wouldn't try and fabricate a moment. And to be clear, regardless of my own political views, I do not think Donald Trump fabricated having someone take a shot at his head with a rifle.
No, that is the catching the bullet magic trick of which many magicians have died on that one. So that is not one that you're going to want, that even the greatest magicians really want to fabricate. And so look, here's the way I take this, Michael. Dramatic. Drama is conflict, as people often say, and I think that's exactly right. Character is, so in a drama you have the dramatic personae, the people in the conflict. And so they're not characters. They're not characters until You see what choices they make in that moment of conflict, in that moment of dilemma. And so any leader who wants to make a brand is potentially hoping for these moments of conflict where the people around them can see the choices that they make and go, okay, so this is the kind of character that I'm dealing with. And sure, that may cause some people to go, never in a month of Sundays am I going with that person. And it may cause others to go, yeah, that's my kind of person. That's the character that I need right now to lead me somewhere where I think is better. And there, you know, you divide into one camp or another camp or various camps at that point. But drama is conflict. Character is the choices that you make within the dilemmas of that conflict. And so, yeah, look, whether you want them or not, if you are leading an organization in areas of complexity, you're going to hit dramas whether you like it or not. And so I've got a client at the moment, Michael, who's running a health service. I mean, it doesn't, as you well know, Michael, it doesn't get, you know, regardless of the business that you've run, healthcare, running a health network is about as complex as it can possibly get. So many stakeholders involved within a national health service, essentially. The drama that she will have on a Monday she won't even get to Tuesday. That drama, there's still that drama, and now there's the new one. And by the time it comes to Friday, the Monday one is like, that's just nothing. That's nothing compared to the Friday, you know, dilemma that's going on. And so, of course, you know, she is having to show her brand and not disappoint. So promise of performance. She's promised a performance to the people around her, multiple stakeholders. Here's what I'm going to deliver to you. And on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, 52 weeks a year, she must live that performance under a new stress almost every day. Dramas. So we find out, what is the character of this person, and will I walk for another year and another year and another year behind that person, or even go, you know what, I will walk in front of you, I will headline your ideas, I'll carry a banner for you right up front. That's the business that she's in at the moment. So anybody who's leading any complexity, you've seen it time and time again, Michael, through change, you know, which you're dealing with on a daily basis with your clients. The dramas are going to hit. You've just got to work out how you handle those, and you don't disappoint, but you delight people with your brand and your promise. Michael, anything to add to that one?
And I would just agree with that. And I think the takeaway lesson for those of you who are listening to this from the career Ask Me Anything perspective is that you have to know who you are, what you stand for, what your values are, and what you believe, what your values are, and what you believe in. You know those things, and then you will respond to the dramatic moments consistently in a way that makes sense to people. If you don't know who you are, the dramatic moments could throw you for a real loop and show the cracks in your leadership. Because for me, you know, we work with you know, executives in charge of some of the biggest corporations in the world and country leaders. When you work with people like that, they are facing those all the time. Maybe you're in a smaller leadership role, you're going to face them less, but you will face them. And you have to know who you are and what you stand for. If you don't stand for something, then that's going to show. And people do not want to follow somebody who doesn't stand for something. Interestingly, they will follow people sometimes that stand for things, even if they're not the things they believe in, but they can believe that they stand for something, and at least they know they're getting a true story of, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do this. It's like, well, I don't like that part. I do like that part. But you know what? That person I believe, because they put up and they don't shut up. They show up. They make it happen, and they behave consistently with their beliefs and then their values and their stated values. So as a leader, remember that the dramatic events are going to happen. Don't try and engineer them, but when they happen, respond and know who you are and how you're going to respond and what core values you're going to use to make the choices in that instant moment and as that dramatic event unfolds. Speaking as events unfolding, this is part of our Career Ask Me Anything series, and so you'll probably see on whatever media you're watching this on a place to add a comment or make a response. maybe one of the boxes down here or below or over there. And if not, you can always just go to michaelleckie.com/ask. And in the form there, put in your questions for Mark Bowden and Michael Leckie on our Career Ask Me Anything ongoing series. We can't wait to hear from you and answer your question. Thanks a lot.